This morning in our studios we have Iris Williams. She's a product supporter at Vault. Now Vault is a digital wallet and payment card service, and it offers a wallet for online transactions, bill payments and shopping, and a card for in-store and online purchases, among other things. She's here to talk more about their operations as we await Dr. Ibrahim Seaga to join the conversation. Good morning, Iris. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Vault. What is it all about?
Vault is a digital payment platform which we have the app which you download, and it's free. It's available at the Google Play Store and App Store. And you just do the basic registration and you have access to use the wallet and the card services.
So it means you don't get to use physical cash, is it?
Yeah, exactly. We are trying to move to cashless and make money movements more seamless and easy.
How has it been for, a community that actually, it's almost hard to divorce physical money. It's hard to divorce the paper that we use. And so trying to get to cashless, how has it been?
Well, it hasn't been an easy journey, but we've been around for 6 months now, and we've had over 300,000 downloads and at least 30,000 active users who are currently using the app.
So you get to make transactions using an app?
Yes.
Okay, and is there any card you use probably when you go to the bank, you want to dispense cash, or do you work with other mobile or the local mobile networks that we have in town?
Yes, we work with banks and the mobile networks that we have available, because you have to have a means of way to put money into the app. So you can either link your bank account, or you can use a bank card, or you can use the mobile money service, which is either AfriMoney or Orange Money. And so it's basically about allowing people to be able to be at the comfort of their home and just be able to access their money very easily. So with the app, you can be able to move money from the bank to your app, or from the app to your bank account, without having to go stand in queues or wait in lines at the bank, or having to be like, oh, it's the weekend, I have to wait till Monday when banks are open for me to be able to have access to my money. So it's more like making money easy for you to be able to have it.
A lot of people discuss safety these days when they talk about online transactions and electronic cash transfers. How reliably safe is your platform?
Our platform is very safe and secure, as we make basically the users are always in control of their money and the movement of their money. For example, when you do the registration, we ask you for a valid phone number and a valid email address. So for everything that you do, you receive like a one-time password to log into your application, and for every transaction you do, you always receive an SMS or an email alert to notify you that you've done a transaction. And even in the app, we have the section where you can monitor each transaction that is done by you. So you're always on track with how much money you're spending or how much is leaving your account.
If you were to describe what you do in perhaps, let's say, 2 sentences, what would it be? How would you describe Vault in a simple language for people to understand?
It's a digital e-wallet platform.
E-wallet?
Yes.
And you get to feed it?
Yes.
So in essence, you're saying that your service is connected to your bank account?
Yes, you can. Well, our service, first of all, we're not a bank, we're a licensed fintech.
Okay.
So what we do is for example, we have the option for you to be able to link your bank account to the app.
Okay.
So if you have like a bank account, you're able to use your account number and just link it to the app, so you can be able to have access to your money in your bank account. So it's mostly, we're trying to make people go cashless. The purpose is for cashless money movement. And we also have our card services that we also offer, where you can be able to use our cards at different ATMs to withdraw money, or to use it for online purchases if it suits you.
So briefly, before we talk to Dr. Shaw, how different would you say your platform is to things like, for instance, AfriMoney and Orange Money? These are all electronic cash transfer mechanisms in the country now.
Yeah.
How different is yours? Is it the same, or? Because I know those ones are linked to your mobile number.
Yes.
And you've just said the same thing. So what are the differences?
For us, the difference is with the application, you have access to do money movements to both AfriMoney and Orange Money. Okay. So it doesn't have to be because I have Orange Money, you need to have Orange Money. If you have AfriMoney, I can move my money from my vault to your AfriMoney. So it's not about saying it's just one straight network movement. The same with the bank. If you link your bank, you're able to move money from one bank to the other bank. So if I'm, like, for example, if I'm using Rokel and you're using GTB, I can be able to move money from my own Rokel account to your GTB account. So it's mostly like making, like I said, money movements more easy and not limiting it to just saying, oh, you have to be in this service to be able to use it, or you have to be in this service to be able to use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much indeed. Good morning and welcome, Dr. Shaw.
Good morning. Good morning also to the viewers.
It's a pleasure having you. Yours is a very crucial, making information accessible to the populace, not only journalists, but the general public.
Yeah.
How compliant would you say, MDs have been, since the establishment of RIG?
Well, we have witnessed a kind of a steady progress in the rate of compliance over the years, actually, because it's not easy making that transition from a culture of secrecy to one of openness, because if you remember very well, this whole idea of access to information really came up as a result of a recommendation from the TRC report, immediately after the Civil War, that the society, Sierra Leone, was a very closed society, It needed openness, we needed, moving into the democratic space, making sure that more and more people have that space to be able to express themselves without any hindrance, to be able to access information without, seamlessly, without any kind of, because the Act, Right to Access Information Act 2013 makes it very clear that Part 2, Section 2, gives everybody the right to access information. So you don't really need to be an elite, a journalist, for instance, or a civil society activist. Just the ordinary woman in the marketplace, should be able to have that access to information whenever they need it. So in terms of compliance, we have seen a steady progress, because when we came in 2018, the first evaluation we did was the FOI request for 2019. We did in 2019, only 112 FOI requests were recorded. So, and that increased steadily, and up to 2022, it really jumped up to astronomical height, which is 13,117. So it means that over the period, we have been able to do a lot of popularization, capacity building, because we have a two-pronged approach to really implementing the law. The first approach is actually what we call the babysitting approach, supporting the suppliers of information, those who hold the information and those who also request for the information, for them to understand exactly about the law in the first place and to know how to use the law. So we've been doing that, and that's the first approach. And the second one, we've been also taking action. If, for instance, if they refuse to comply, like issuing orders, because the Act gives us that power. We can sit down, we can sit as we have the power of the High Court, and our decisions are binding. So we will call them to order, to issue, we give them ultimatums, to issue to release the information, and failing which we can even resort to imposing fines. For institutions, we impose as much as 100,000 new leons, and for individuals, 10,000 leons. So we have those approaches, and we think that we've exercised both. From time to time, we've shown that we can also use the stick. So it's not just the carrot. And I think that has also called their attention. It's called them to order that they need to, they can be called to order if they don't want to.
In using the stick, what landmark instance will you give us wherein maybe other MDAs could actually learn from?
You mean landmark?
Which among these ministries have you fined indeed and have paid these 100 million, 1,000 million?
Well, we have recent cases. There is one that is still pending in the appeals court, which is the one between the Bank of Sierra Leone and Matakagbo, a journalist, freelance journalist, who was interested in having information about the history of foreign exchange in the bank, you know. And so that case is still pending, and well, we are hoping that the judiciary will expedite things, and very soon, and we will be able to hear the outcome. You know, we've had a few cases in the past. Very recently, we fined corporate affairs, you know, for refusing to give information that we feel, that we deem, you know, supposed to be in the public domain. Because let's not forget also, it's not all information that can be made public. You know, you have other information that falls among the exempt information. For instance, information about national security, about personal data, third-party information. But what we always try to encourage the public authorities is that you should not keep quiet when an information request is made, even if they know that this information falls among the exempt information or they don't have it. They should reach out to the requester, because the requester is exercising their right to access information. So they should not ignore. You know, by ignoring is that they are defaulting. You know, they are defaulting against the law. They are going against the law, and they are not respecting their obligation. So we always draw their attention, because there is also what we call trust. You know, you are the public authority. You are there to serve the public. So you are there for the public. It's not for yourself. So therefore, you must be able to have to make the public to have confidence in what you are doing. But if you try to hide information that is supposed to be out to the public, the public will not have confidence in your service delivery. And then the whole idea of feedback loop, for the public to be able to feed back to you, to say, okay, this service we are getting, this we are not getting, we are not. But if you don't give out the information about the services that you are delivering, so you break that cycle. And it's going to pose problem. And when there is distrust, that's where we see a lot of people resort to other means of trying to redress their challenges. But if they can have that open atmosphere where they can vent out their feelings, they can ask questions about what is going on and what they are not sure about, you know, it's always good for democracy, because for democratic participation. Democracy is not just about going to cast your vote during election cycles. It's also about participating in the democratic culture of the society. And access to information is very key to this.
Talk about the 2025 deadline for the compliance report to be submitted by MDAs. Just a few days ago as well, you launched the 2023 report for the Right to Access Information Commission. Now, what are the report's findings from 2023?
Yeah, well, the report findings, the interesting thing about the report is that we discovered that we've made a lot of progress in the FOI. But we still think that there's still we have a lot of room to, you know, we have a lot more to do, you know, in terms of the popularization and so forth. One of the areas where we are really still facing a serious challenge is the area of proactive disclosure of information. You know, we have over 160 to 170 MDAs in this country, you know, including state-owned enterprises. But so far we can say we have made progress, because we have about 79 MDAs that have actually proactively disclosed information. They have engaged with the process, and they have completed their publication schemes.
For 2025?
You know? For 2023. Because for the proactive disclosure, it's more like a progressive kind of thing that lasts for about 7 years. And we are into the 5th year since it was launched. But we still have about 2 years where we still have many MDAs that have actually not proactively disclosed. So the area where we have made a lot of progress is around the FOI request, because we are seeing now increasingly public authorities responding to information requests without us needing to come in to intervene for them to, you know. So that is why we have Section 41 provides for Section 41 in our Act provides that at the end of every financial year, we should produce an annual report. And that annual report should contain not just information about our operations, our activities, our achievements, and our financial transactions, but also information about the status of compliance of MDAs. So that is why you see recently we issued out a memo to all MDAs asking them to complete the ACR template, which is the annual compliance report, which is a template that has questions. The first question is for them to give us an idea of how many freedom of information requests, that is information requests that were made to their MDA during the course of 2024. But now we are looking at 2024 now. The report that we launched recently, and we had the opportunity to present it to His Excellency the President recently, and then we did the launching just this week. We looked at 2023. So the evaluation we are doing now is for the 2024 report that will be coming out also towards the end of this year. So, but what we always tell the public authorities is that if we don't give enough information about the status of compliance, it's like we are under-reporting Sierra Leone. And at the end of every, there is also a UNESCO survey that we take part in every year. If you see us maybe doing well, or maybe our ranking in terms of freedom of information, in the world, the global ranking, we will not be able to score high if the reporting is low. So that is why we always encourage public authorities. Let them, because we know that a lot of them are doing well in the area of respecting, or maybe their obligation, responding to information requests and proactively. But if they don't give us these reports, we will not be able to know. Because we have to go beyond those cases that we intervene in. So that is why we always send this memo, and sometimes the response rate cannot be is not very positive, and that's why we have been really challenged. So that's why you see, like you see that last year in our marking our 10th year anniversary, we gave awards to those MDAs that over time have been really consistently responding to our calls, for instance, to complete those templates, and also to respond to information requests and to proactively disclose information, because there are different categories, So, and also those public authorities that when we publish our annual reports, when they are absent in those reports, it means it's a way of naming and shaming them, And those cases that we have been dealing with also, where public authorities have not been really forthcoming with information, we have some case studies that we also include in those reports, And so that will give an idea, because we don't only call on public authorities to proactively disclose information, we also try to do it, So we try to lead by example. But it's something that is very important. Compliance is very key. Because if you have a law that is just in the shelf there, it's not coming out and it's not being really implemented, it's of no good. It's of no use or no good to the public.
We'll get back to you, Dr. Shaw, to discuss specific cases, investigations regarding the law. And let me come back to you. How far or widely would you say Vault has spread across the country? Do you think people are quite aware about your services?
Yes, we have lots of users out of the country that are using our services, and we've had lots of good feedbacks, and as we said, we have over 30,000 active users,
Let me
both
understand
locally
correctly.
and
So
internationally.
your service is being used out of the country as well?
Yes.
For international users, okay?
Yes. So our cards...
Is it a form of remittance? Through the form of remittance? Can someone send, for instance, money from the US to Sierra Leone?
Yes. So we have a service which is called PayTag.
PayTag.
Yes. So with the PayTag, you can be able to receive money from people out of the country. And in this, the person does not have to necessarily need to have Vault in their phone to be able to send the money to you. But all they need to do is have a Master or Visa card, and then they'll be able to send the money directly into your Vault account.
From anywhere in the world?
From anywhere in the world.
When you mentioned the app, is it an online or offline app? So you need data, internet connectivity to use it? Yes,
you need internet to be able to use the app. So it's mostly for smartphones.
Okay,
yes.
So do you have plans to actually reach underserved communities where probably even internet connectivity is a real challenge?
Well, for now, not yet. We provide it to users that have a smartphone, because Vault is a product of Metro, and Metro is an internet company. So we're trying to bring it more when you have the internet, you'll be able to use the services. So for now, we're mostly focusing on that area in building it up, and then maybe as time goes, gradually we try to provide services for people who are not being able to access internet and to be able to use it.
How has business been like with other businesses in Freetown, most especially? Because oftentimes, you know, for events, especially I would say even in December and a lot, even that happened in January, oftentimes when you check the flyers, you would actually see, okay, you could pay using Vault and the like. How has the business community also welcomed your idea of your digital wallet?
Well, the business community has been very welcoming, as we provide QR codes for different locations. So as we said, you do digital payments. You don't just need to be able to use the card to do a payment, you also be able to use the app. So you just scan the QR code and you make your payments. So we have different places and different locations that we have joined hands with, and we've been able to do our businesses with them. And if you go there, they always have the option to use the Vault app to make payments, either the card or you use the app to do your payments. So it's been very friendly and welcoming.
Okay, in your operations so far,
yes,
what has been an outstanding challenge?
Being its money issue, money business, obviously it's about bringing the trust to customers, because you have people be like, oh, it's my money, how secure is my money, how safe is my money, and all of that. So we always try to make the customers feel more comfortable with understanding how the app works. Firstly, the app is very simple and easy to use. It's not complicated, or it's not something that you struggle to understand how to use it. And we also have the marketing team that go around introducing people to how the services work and showing them on how to use the app and how to go about getting an account with Vault.
Let me come back to you, Dr. Shaw. Let me tell you what people have been saying, is that this law is not working. So I'll tell you about a man, Abdul Fatoba, who is the chief executive at Chadi, who told me about 2 Sundays ago that he had made a request to the judiciary of Sierra Leone for particular information, which they did not grant. And they've been, protracting this case for longest time now. And almost, well, he said he has given up almost, you understand. The same thing to my colleague Fabian Swill as well. I think it was a few weeks ago, who wrote to the Parliament of Sierra Leone. She had to be deferred to the Bank of Sierra Leone. These things do come up. A lot of people are giving up. It seems as though the law is not working. It's there actually, it's beautiful, but it's not working. People are not complying. And when you request, one of the most bastardized sections in that particular law is the exempt information. A lot of them will tell you, oh no, this thing borders around national security. But who determines what national security is? Is it all cases? Would you say it's national security? Say, for instance, someone is asking about, how many coins we have in the Bank of Sierra Leone. Would you categorize that as a national threat?
Yes, you have mentioned 2 cases here. So let me go first to the Abdul Fatoma one. Abdul Fatoma made a request to the judiciary. And I think from our own angle, from what we observed, is that the case is a very genuine case, because the information that he's requesting for is definitely information that is supposed to be in the public domain. Okay. So we don't have any problem with that, and we asked the judiciary to respond. And the judiciary, they have come back recently to say that there is just a transition from the old leadership, because there has been a leadership transition in the judiciary. A new chief justice was appointed recently, and so they wrote a letter to say that, that because of the transition, it has caused a little delay in responding. But they have made a commitment, in the letter that they wrote, to Abdul Fatoma, and they copied us that they will come back on the matter, as soon as they settle down with the new transition. So we I think in good faith, because there is flexibility also, so we can be asked to consider extend the time. The law gives us that power, that flexibility. So for that, we have we've encouraged Mr. Abdul Fatoma to hold on a bit. We are hoping that very soon the judiciary will come back and respond to his request. For the amphibians wheel.
What if they don't come back? But let me just. What if they don't come back?
If they don't come back, then definitely we will go by the law. What the law says is what we will follow. But from their indication, from the letter, we'll see that they are ready. They are ready. They are prepared. If they were not ready, they would have stated it there very clearly. So, but from the tone of the letter, it shows that they are prepared. It's just the time. They are trying to settle down, and then they will come back on the matter.
And how long is the period that the discretionary extension that the Commission has given now in an instance like this? How long will it extend?
Well, for now, we've not put any definitive time, but they mentioned in the letter as soon as possible, as feasible. So we are hoping that it will not take long. If we wait and we see that they are taking much longer, then we'll get back to them and say we're still waiting to hear. The requester is still waiting. Okay. So for now, I think we are hoping that it will not be long from now. They will respond. For the amphibians wheel one, what happened? She made a request for information, about the costs of the printing of the new currency. And I think she went first, according to our understanding, our investigations, she went first to the bank, and the bank referred her to Parliament. It's only Parliament that can give that information. But the bank also, Parliament also referred her to the bank. So it has been like that,
Indeed.
Yeah, so the bank, I think recently now, they responded when she went back to the bank. They responded in writing, and for now, we're just waiting to hear what Fibian makes of that response, because I don't want to comment on that now. Okay. So I think the onus is now on the requester, Fibian, to respond. To engage us, to say, okay, she's not satisfied with the response, or to ask us to go further, because the law does not allow us to just go further without her coming back to us. So it's up to her to make the next move. Because I think they made reference to an exempt. So if she's not happy with the exempt, that they make the reference that they made to because we have exempt provisions in the Act, Section 12 from Section 12 to Section 26. So if she's not comfortable with that reference to the exempt, in the letter, in the communication to her, she can reach out to us, because we have the power to negotiate. That's our role. To negotiate that balance, because what we observe is that some public authorities will hide behind those exempt provisions if they don't want to release the information, but some will have a very, very genuine reason. So it is for us to look at it from a case by basis. But one point I want to emphasize is that Section 12, subsection 2 of Section 12 provides that we can also evoke the public interest tests, in a situation like that. If the releasing the information, the harm in releasing the information outweighs the public good in releasing the information, we will advise for that information not to be released. But if the public good in releasing the information, for instance, outweighs the harm, we will advise the public authority to kind of redact those sections of the information that will necessarily cause problems, cause harm, to be redacted, removed from the information, and then the other one will be released. So those are the negotiations that we do. But we cannot do it except, for instance, either the public authority they approach us, or the requester. It's when they approach us and say, this public authority, for instance, the requester say, oh, this public authority has kind of referred to this exempt, but I'm not convinced that is enough reason for them to refuse giving this information, then we can step in, but we cannot just step in without being really contacted on that. Public authority also, if they are not satisfied, with a particular information request, they are not sure whether it falls among the exempt or not, they can also approach us for advice. So we are there, as a kind of playing that middleman role. Okay. Because for us, the most important thing is the public interest. What is really in the public interest is what we are in for. And that's what we try to push. So negotiating that balance sometimes can be very tricky, but we try and make sure that we negotiate it very well.
All right, let's speak to the deadline set now for MDAs for this 2025 to submit their compliance report.
Yes, the deadline is the 15th of this month, which is tomorrow. Because no, sorry, it's today is the 13th.
The 15th
tomorrow
is
the 15th, so it's Saturday. So we are looking forward for them to respond, because the reason why we give that deadline is for them not to just think that it's an open-ended kind of thing, and also we have timelines that we want to respect, because let's not forget that the data that we collect will be processed to prepare the report for our annual report for 2024. And we have other processes that like auditing of our financial statements, other things. So all that will take some time. We are hoping that by at least the first quarter to the second quarter, we should have exhausted. So that's why we put this deadline. And the good thing about this cycle of completing the ACR template is that this time we also have an additional option online. You can do it online. We have the templates now available on our website, raic.gov.sl. So it's in addition to doing the paper, completing the paper template and submitting to our office, which will take a lot of time. You have that option. Just go online and input the information. It's the one thing that we have always encouraged the MDAs do is for them not to rush to do it to the extent that they don't do it well. It's not just doing it, it's also doing it well. Because what we observe, sometimes they just rush, they complete. So for instance, if a particular MDA, they received a lot of information for 2024, and if they don't, what we encourage them is for them, like for the information officer, who is the frontline person completing the process, to go around to send a memo to all departments in that particular institution and ask them whether the information requests that came through their departments during the course of the year, so that at the end of the day, they will have a kind of a holistic data that they will be able to submit. Because it's not just about the information request, it's also about whether those information requests were responded to positively, and whether also if they are not responded to positively, why? They have to give the reason. The other thing also they have to take there is whether they have a public information officer or an information officer who processes the information request, whether they also have a record officer who keeps record of the information, also whether they have an ICT unit, and also whether to also give us an idea of the gender of the requester, so that we are able to disaggregate the data, because when we are doing this reporting, having disaggregated data is always very helpful. If you look at the report that we have just launched, this week, you will see that we have information about, for instance, how many women, and the data by regions as well. All the regions, the MDAs that submitted, even the proactive disclosure also, we have enough information about all that.
You mentioned as well you submitted the 2023 report of the Commission to the President.
Yes.
What was his response on the status of compliance of MDAs when it comes to respecting the right to access information?
Well, his response was positive in the sense that he appreciated how far we have come in terms of increasing the compliance rate and so forth. But one thing that we raised up with him that as best practice in other countries, which he really noted, and he said he will try to see how best he will be able to help, is making sure that the ATI is included as part of the performance contract for MDAs, for instance. So that as one of the criteria for which they can be measured, their performance will be measured, like to what extent are they really complying with the law, access to information law, because openness is very key in the public sector. If that is embedded in the performance, because we have it's happening in Ghana, It's happening in other jurisdictions, where we have ETI laws. So what we are trying to do is we are going to do follow-ups on that, because he noted that, he took note of that, and even mentioned that he will be liaising with the secretary to president, his secretary, to follow up on some of the things that we raised. So we are hoping to follow up on that, and hopefully, if that is captured, I think it will go a long way to help us, because then they will know that it's like it will be kind of an obligation also, additional obligation. It's not just respecting the law now. If it is tied to their embedded in their performance contract, they will see it as maybe very, very essential that they have to do, because if they know that they are going to be measured by it, it will help. So I think it will help our work a lot, and we are looking forward to that.
Dr. Shaw, can someone request information from State House, for instance?
Yeah, of course. All public authorities, by definition of public authorities, all institutions that receive money on behalf of the public, So State House, of course, yeah. I mean, anybody who wants to request for information from State House, they can do it. And I don't think State House will refuse to give the information, because I don't want to believe that they have anything to hide there, except, for instance, if the information falls among the exempt again. But that is also something that can be negotiated.
Let me paint a scenario, for instance. Let's say, for example, a civil society activist or journalist is interested to know how much the president has spent in his overseas travels, for instance, and they made that kind of request. Would that be considered an exempt?
No, that cannot be considered an exempt. I mean, I think this information is available. I don't think that is information that is kept. If you look at the budget that is prepared every year, and audited by the Auditor General's office, you realize that the office of the president is also audited. So reports about financial expenditures, about the president's travels, internal, external expenditures, and internal expenditures are all captured in those audited reports. So I don't think there is any, problem with that, except, for instance, expenditures that will have some maybe implications that will fall among there is a possibility. If something has to do with national security, for instance, even the auditors, when they are auditing, I'm sure they will take that into consideration. I think it's very important for us to know that information access is very key, and I think even State House will be very happy to let people know what is really happening within the corridors of State House. Because when people know what is happening within the corridors of State House, they will have more trust in what is coming out from State House. And I think all public authorities, not just State House. So this law is for everybody. We always tell people, even in Creole, that access to information are everybody in business, not a one-man business. Now it's for us all, because everybody needs information to empower. Because information is power. Without information, it's very difficult for people to make informed decisions. So it's for us all.
All right. We do have messages on our Facebook page, which we would like to read out and get responses from you too. Starting off with Boss LA, he says, Mr. Seaga Shaw, you're the chairman for the Commission Right to Access Information, and that office is there to give information to the citizens if needed. But at recent, people have been grumbling that your office is not living to expectation because people are denied information in that office, especially when it comes to the government information, which is very bad. Boss Eli from Douazak.
Mystic from Douazak is also saying the vault transfer application is a good initiative, just that the management should ensure they popularize the importance of the app so that the ordinary Sierra Leonean can get a proper understanding of it.
Must D, so both cases mentioned here, which I must say from high-profile personnel in Abdul Fatama and Fibian Swill, are yet to be addressed. What guarantees are there for we, the not so high-profile people, to actually get the most important access to information? Again, as Victor Jones was asking, is the law working? Are the compliances being held by the people responsible for these information to be accessed?
Mystic from Douazak is saying, indeed, Dr. Ibrahim Seaga Shaw, it's not easy. Just that the access to information is still a challenge in Sierra Leone. The Act made it clear But in actuality, compliance is still a challenge because many public institutions consider leaving information as a taboo. Even media practitioners are struggling to get information, not to talk about the ordinary Sierra Leonean.
Swiss man is asking, Madam, my question is, if someone has huge amounts of money on his phone, unfortunately the person passes away overnight, is there any chance for his family member to have access to the money when they do not have a PIN code? And he says he doesn't trust those kinds of transactions because he has mentioned a mobile company money transaction that doesn't have a next of kin or second party transaction. And he says even some of the banks in the country are not reliable because some are underpaying people while making a withdrawal transaction. It's a long message.
Boss, earlier, I don't know if you've read this, Mr. Seaga Shaw, you are the chairman.
Yes, I have.
You've read that one, right?
Yes,
okay. So Mosdi is saying both cases mentioned, you've read that one as well.
Yes,
right?
please.
And I think these are a few of the messages we've gotten this morning. Perhaps you'd start to respond, Dr. Shaw. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the feedback from the viewers. I think, you know, in a way, people expect a lot, you see, and we are doing our best. It's really not easy, as I said earlier, you know, making that transition from a culture of secrecy to one of openness. It's not an easy journey. You know, it has not been easy, but we are trying. You know, we've been coming across few stumbling blocks here and there. For instance, one challenge recently that, but we have now tried to overcome that. A lot of the time, public servants will say they've signed up to code of secrecy, they should not give information and so forth. But in actual fact, what we found out when they were reviewing the civil service code is that there is no such thing as a code of secrecy that they signed up to. The only thing is the time that it takes for them to release information. They have to have the express permission of their bosses, the public servants, you know. For instance, somebody working under the permanent secretary or the minister, if the permanent secretary does not go ahead for them to release the information, they will not release the information. So what we have tried to do now, reviewing the civil service code, which has just been rolled out now, is now in the process of being rolled out, is that the time now that it takes for them to respond to information requests will not go beyond 15 working days. So now what is in our act now has been embedded in the civil service code. So that is going to help us a lot. And what we are planning to do is to engage our public authorities like HRMO, Public Service Commission, you know, the Public Sector Reform Unit, to work on projects where we can train people. I think the cases that were mentioned here, the CFM, we've had more very difficult cases in the past, and I think we've done our best to handle them. You know, I think we need a little patience from the public. You know, let them look at what we have done within a very short time. You know, between 2018 to date. You know, now more and more people are now accessing information compared to before. Just remember, I said it earlier, I will repeat it here again. When the first recording that we did of information requests, we were just 112. You know, just the recent one, the 2023 stock taking that we made, 19,496 cases. 19,496 cases. That is a lot if you look at where we have come from. So let them just be patient a bit with us. We will get there. You know, I would say we are not there yet completely. We also want to do more than what we are doing now, but hopefully we'll be able to get there. And let them just be patient with us. Let them just feel that when they can trust us, you know, the fact that we have been handling very difficult cases, we have handled cases, you know, let them know that we are not afraid of any case. Any case that comes to us, and we think that for us, it's the public interest that we'll seek, you know. And like I said earlier, in terms of negotiating the balance between what should be protected and what should be made public, that is, we are the only agency, we are the only commission that can negotiate that balance. Right. And we will commit to make sure that we will only do it, it's only the public interest that will kind of determine, you know, what we do with that.
Just so we listen to, before we listen to Iris, Dr. Shaw, if you were to be asked about what you need the most, as in, you know, to embolden you, if you like, or better empower you to better deliver, you know, information to people of this country? What would you need the most?
What I referred to just now, that best practice that we have in other jurisdictions. If, for instance, ATI is embedded in the performance contracts of MDAs, I think that will go a long way, because they will now see it as something, as a kind of a life and death thing. Okay. Because if they are going to be evaluated on that as one of their performance criteria, you know, probably they will take us a bit more serious, because we always call on them to see us as partners in development. They should not see us as threats.
You think that states are not quite serious with the business of releasing information at the moment? Yeah, a lot of them are now responding because of the popularization that we have done and so forth. But we still have some of them that are still reluctant, you know, to come forward with information, even though they know that information, if they come forward with it, there is no problem. The information does not really fall among, even when they know that the information does not fall among the exempt, they still refuse. We still have them out there, you know, but we are trying to call on them to make sure that, because building public trust is very important. Because if you are delivering service to the public and they don't trust that the service that you are delivering, it's for nothing. So although we try to use the other methods of trying to coerce them and encourage them and so forth, but we want we always call on them to know that it's a win-win kind of situation. Right. Because if you don't proactively disclose information, if you don't respond to information requests, people will go and make their own information. And that's why we have this idea of disinformation, misinformation, you know, fake news, you know, because people manufacture. When you cannot give them what they are supposed to receive from you, they will go and make their own, you know, make up their own. And that's what we always call on them. Don't give them that latitude to go and make up their own information. You have enough information out there, give out them to them. That is why I appreciate the Ministry of Information and Civic Education. They have been doing a lot of reaching out, bringing out a lot of information. These press conferences that they normally hold, you know, allow the media people to ask questions, you know, and respond. You know, you create that atmosphere of engagement to the public constantly. And when you do that, there is very little room for distrust. Right. You know, so I think if we, there is one also initiative that is being championed by the Ministry of Information and Civic Education, together with the Communication Ministry, to make sure that all MDAs have websites. You know, if all MDAs have websites, that's going to make our work much easier as well, because then they will have platforms where they can proactively disclose information. Because the challenge we have in this country, most of the MDAs, they have, even those that have websites, the websites are not functional, and some don't even have. Right. So probably that initiative that is coming out also from the Ministry of Civic Information and Civic Education in collaboration with Ministry of Communication will help our work a lot more, you know, and we are looking forward to that. Right. Iris?
Yes, thank you for the comments and the questions. So firstly, I'd like to answer the one about sensitizing the public. We, like I said earlier, we have our marketing teams and our sales teams that go around introducing the app to people and explaining to them how they work and how to use the app and how to go about registering for the account. And we also have our call center service, which is always available 24/7, that people can call and can ask questions about the Vault app and make their inquiries and all of that. So for the one about if someone dies, again, with security and because it's money, people are very particular and very skeptical about it. We, as I said, we launched 6 months ago, so there's room for more improvement and for us to involve certain things. So we're always having a listening ear to the public and to bring the needs of what people want to our services. We plan on providing the availability for someone to have a next of kin in case of timely death or something happens. You have someone who can be able to have access to your account to be able to receive the money. So we plan on bringing that service to be available, but for now it's a work in progress and it's not something we just want to jump into and just rush into making it active at the moment.
All right, so how can viewers actually keep up with Vault? What are your social media handles, or what should they search for in their app stores if they want to download the app?
They just have to type Vault, VULT, Pay Save Go, and our Facebook page as well is Vault Pay Save Go, same for Instagram. And we also have we're also bringing a TikTok account because TikTok is now the new social media platform. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, and we always have our videos and our tutorials there as well on how to go about using the app, downloading the app, and making it available.
All right. Thank you very much, Iris Williams, product supporter at Vault, and also to you, Dr. Ibrahim Seaga, chairman and information commissioner at the Right to Access Information Commission.